Hi all, welcome back to Matlab tutorial on Tooth Fulcrum. This session is on function in Matlab. A function is a group of statements that together perform a task. In Matlab, functions are defined in separate files. The name of the file and of the function should be the same. So let's see how to create a function file. So, to create a function file, go to the New tab. You have many options popping out. From here, select the function file. So you could see here, this is the function file and it starts with a keyword function. And function can work with arguments. So if you want to pass arguments to your function, you can provide the same. The main thing to note here is the function file name and your function name should be the same. You could see here I have not saved this file, so it is untitled. The function name, this is representing your function name and it is also the same as untitled. So let's take an example. Let's say that we are going to write a function that is computing the sum of two numbers. So let's name our function as add. So I'm going to edit this function file. So you have the option of editing. So you just have to click in and place a cursor wherever you want to edit the file. So I'm going to change the function name from untitled to add. So the moment you give your function name, you have to save your file also with the same name. This is important for function. The function file name and the function name should be the same. So now I'm going to save my file. So how do we do that? Control S. Here you can see by default it will come up with the function name. If not, you have to provide your function name as your file name. So it's add. So I'm going to name the file as add. Then save. So now I have created my function file. You could see here the file name is add.m and the function name is also add. So we are going to compute the addition or sum of two numbers. So this keyword you cannot remove. It should have the keyword function. You have by default two output arguments. That is, if you are writing like s is equal to a plus b, that s variable, the output variable you can specify here. So let's provide one output variable to our function. So let me name the output variable as out. And then here you can specify the input arguments if you're providing any. So since we are computing the addition of two numbers, I'm going to provide two input arguments to my function. So let me call it as in1 and in2. So this is the function add with two input arguments in1 and in2 and the output variable is out. So now let's write the body of our function. So here you can write the body of the function. That is, what is the instructions that you want to give to the function in order to perform a specific task. So here we are computing the addition of two numbers. So how do you write that instruction? And the addition answer is taken to a variable out. So out is equal to in1 plus in2. So we are done with the function. We have created a function file and we have given the instructions to compute the sum of two numbers. So now we have created our function. Now how do we work with this function, or how do we put the function to action? For this we need to invoke a function, or we need to call our function. So how do we do that? You can do the invocation of function within a normal script file, or you could call the same within the command window. So I'm going to show you how you're going to invoke a function from your command window. So our function has an output variable out. So when you call the function also, you need to use a variable to invoke the function. So let me use the variable s here. S equal to. Now you can call the function by using the function name, that is add in our case, and a function takes two arguments, in 1 and in 2. So you need to pass the two arguments when you call the function. So let me say 1, 2. So what is our expected output here? The sum of 1 and 2, that is 3. So what is happening internally when you invoke your function? So this is how you invoke the function. So when you invoke a function, this binds with the function call or function definition. So this s will get mapped with the output variable out, and this 1 will be received by the variable in 1 and 2 will be received by the variable in 2. So what is the instruction that you have provided within the function? Out is equal to in 1 plus in 2. So when you invoke the function, it becomes s is equal to in 1 is having 1 plus in 2 has 2. So s is equal to 1 plus 2, that is s will hold the value of 3, which is nothing but the sum of 1 and 2. So let's run the code and verify our output. So you could see here s is equal to 3, which is as expected, which is nothing but the sum of the input arguments 1 and 2. Now, the functions operate on variables within their own workspace, which is called as the local workspace. Which is separate from the workspace you access at the Matlab command prompt, which is called as the base workspace. That is, this is your base workspace. The workspace that you see here is the base workspace. So you could see here the function variables are what? Out, in1, in2. So these variables you cannot see inside your base workspace. These variables will be available only within the local workspace. You could write functions in various forms. That is, the example what we have seen right now has an output variable and arguments, input arguments. So let's try out a function that is not going to take an output variable, but it has an input argument. We'll work with the same add function. So I'll show you the various forms by which you can write the function. So let's remove this output variable. So let me use another variable here. Let's say s. And how do you get or how do you see the output here? Let me use a disp function and let me disp the value of s, which is holding the sum of the input arguments. So if this is the case, how do you invoke a function of this kind which doesn't take any output variable but which has input arguments? So if your function is not taking any output variable, you cannot use a variable to call the function or invoke the function. That is, in the previous example we have seen how we had invoked the function. We used the statement s is equal to add of 1, 2. So here you cannot use a variable like s to invoke the function. That is, you will have to simply call it as add of 1, 2. So this is how you invoke a function which doesn't take any output variable. So if you run this, you could see the output is 3. So if you are not using any output variable for your function, you won't be able to store the result. Okay, let's move further, and now let me show you how to write a function which is not taking any input argument. So let's proceed with the same way. I'm going to remove the input arguments here. So what kind of function do we have now? Without any output variable and without any input arguments. So we need to compute the sum of two numbers, right? So if that is the case, we need to specify what should be the values of in1 and in2 within the function definition. That is, you have to write a statement something like this: in1 is equal to 1 or in2 equal to 2, something like this. So here in1 is 1 and in2 is 2. So s is equal to, it will get computed as 1 plus 2, that is 3, and you're displaying that value of s, which is 3. So how do you call such kind of a function? So we have seen, if it doesn't has an output variable, you cannot use a variable to call the function. So you have to start with the function name. Now your function is not taking any input arguments. This is empty here. So when you call the function also, you cannot pass any arguments. So this simply a statement like add off. This will invoke your function add, which is not taking any output variable and the input arguments. So if you press enter, you could see the output is 3. So this is about functions in Matlab. We have one more kind of function which is called as anonymous function that we'll discuss in the next session. So keep watching. Thank you so much. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe, and please don't forget to tap the bell icon. You'll get notified whenever we upload a new videos. Thank you.